last week we talked about this mother who has an OnlyFans, and she was promoting it in a decal on the back of her car while picking up her child from school. Interesting decision,
Yes.
right? So she was barred from picking up her child from school in this car, specifically because this is a private Christian school. And obviously the other parents would have a problem with that, as well as the administration of the school. So she received consequences for it, and in response, she just put a larger advertisement on the car.
That's insane.
So she doubled down, defended her choice because she says, this is how I support my family, and played the victim. And now her children have been expelled from this private Christian school as a result. And she's entirely to blame for it. Now, immediately everyone's response is, hey, but this has nothing to do with the kids. This wasn't their choice. Why should they have to suffer the consequences? And I agree that it's unfair, but this is also just how society works. When you make individual choices for your own life, it affects other people.
Where you put your
we live in a society
where you put your selfish desires ahead of your child's.
Yeah, and we're living in a society where, you know, people have these insane psychotherapists that tell them to put their own feelings and needs before those of others, when the exact opposite would be better life advice. You know, you're actually supposed to put your feelings and your needs behind those of your loved ones.
I also feel like this is like 30, 40 years of movies telling you that the brave thing to do is to like stay the course, and that there's no such thing as you actually making the mistake and everybody else is the one that's wrong.
You gotta take a stand.
You gotta take like in her mind, there's a swelling score going on behind her as she's telling school, I will not stop selling myself on the internet so that I can put my kids through college. They're like, well, then I guess they just can't go to, like, they're like, okay, you can do that, but can you not advertise the whole selling yourself stuff on the internet or like in the back window at a at your school, right? In public at your child's school. And she's like, I will not do that. I will not be silenced.
What did the decal look like?
It was like
it's just her OnlyFans link on the back of her car.
See it,
right
you can
there.
see it. Oh, we're in 4K.
I wonder what would happen if she made it like one of those QR codes where you scan it.
That would surely be even worse.
That'd be bad.
Yep.
And I'm sure that these kids were getting bullied by their classmates as well. And I do feel bad for them. And they didn't deserve for this to happen. But what are you supposed to do when other parents are being affected by your decision? Yep.
And it is
other kids are being affected by this, getting exposed to this when they shouldn't have been.
And just like with the story that we were talking about last week, what ends up happening is her subscriptions will go up. Because this is great
of the
promotion
media
for her.
coverage.
Yep. So we're at fault for that, I guess. We're doing our job, she's doing her job, and unfortunately, it benefits a symbiotic relationship. It'll end up benefiting her because her subs will jump because a bunch of people are like, oh, I didn't hear about this. Let's stick it to the Catholic school, to the Christian school, and then they'll subscribe just for that.
Because they're being so repressive for not exposing porn to children.
Yep.
And I saw another headline just this weekend about an 18-year-old son who admits that he films his mother's OnlyFans content.
What?
Yeah.
Quote, I don't feel any lust for her.
Here's the article about it. So it's translated
disgusting.
to English. Andressa Uric, I think it's Uric, a former Miss Bum Bum contestant. Yes,
what is that?
And Arthur, that's her son, were working. Arthur work creating OnlyFans content together. He records and she performs. So far, nothing new, but already, if they are mother and son, things become more unusual. Perhaps even a bond too close for this type of work. Really?
Yeah.
You think. Arthur,
he
who
was
is a photographer and a DJ in charge of recording the videos while his mother has sex with different actors. For his efforts, he gets 10% of the profits from the content his mother makes.
Yeah, while the idea of sex workers monetizing content has gained some acceptance, most people were uncomfortable with Andressa involving her son. But Arthur disagrees with the notion that he should be ashamed of his mom selling herself.
This isn't in America, by the way, guys. This is
I was going to say, you
This is
said
in Brazil.
translated
This
to
is in
English?
Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, when questioned about his qualms when he takes the TV personality's photos, he said he was very serene with her decision to employ his services. Wow, okay. And then her ex-husband said, what about a mother who takes her own son to watch his mother rub against other men. Ew. It's just very incestuous. And just so you guys know what I do in my free time, I'm currently compiling a list of OnlyFans related horror stories, and these two just got added to it. And I have different categories in this list. So I included job loss, financial desperation, incest is another category, blackmail and stalking situations, kids getting bullied, expelled from schools, socially ostracized due to their parent doing OnlyFans or promoting it. Those are also included. And I found some really insane stories. One of them was even a murder. This chick got murdered in her own home by one of her stalkers from doing OnlyFans. He strangled her to death. This was in Texas.
What?
He stayed in her home for 2 days with her corpse, doing God knows what. He was writing on her walls in her lipstick confessions of what he did. And then once her loved ones realized that she was missing, her dad went to her apartment and broke in the door and found this guy. And when her dad found this guy standing there, the guy committed suicide by stabbing himself in the neck. And this is the scene that he happened upon. Yes. Now, that's obviously the extreme example, but I'm telling you, I have a growing list. There are more examples every week of headlines about horror stories that are related to women doing online sex work or digital prostitution, however you want to put it. And to say that this is just like any other job would be naive and delusional.
Do you think this has anything to do with the rise in female teachers seducing students? I've been following law and crime stuff, and there's a new one every day.
That's been happening a lot. Right. And I think that
because they never actually explained it in a way that if it was a male teacher, it would be explained differently.
Yeah.
They say when a male teacher does it, it's statutory rape or rape. When a female teacher does it, it's sexual misconduct.
They're definitely getting charged, though.
They're getting charged, but then the story goes, let me lay the scene for you. The article gets posted. Somebody goes, why is it different when women do it? And then the next comment is a guy saying, where were these teachers when I was in school? And let me be fair. If I was 16 and the women were doing this, probably would have thought the same thing.
Yeah, because you're stupid and a kid.
You're also a dude, okay? And boys in sexual, that's just the way it is, okay? But it's never treated differently. It's never treated the same. Therefore, they don't actually get the same energy or the same press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we covered a couple of teachers that were in the same high school that were caught doing OnlyFans, and they were both
doing OnlyFans.
I don't know if they were both doing it together, but they were both caught by their students. Because the students were the ones who found the content online and threatened to tell the administration about it. And once they were exposed for doing this, they got suspended from their jobs, both of them.
Oh, I thought you said the students. I'm like, no.
No, not the students doing the content. But they found out that their teachers were doing it. And I think one of them said they got a note slipped under the classroom door, I know your secret.
Oh my God.
And I'm just saying, these are wires in society that shouldn't cross.
Yeah.
You go do your degenerate thing. I have a problem with it, but keep it away from children. And their excuses I just don't make enough money as a teacher. I was forced to do this.
And I'm always just waitressing is still a thing. You can get a second job. Polywork, remember? Polywork is a thing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not about the money. It's about the attention. It's about the headlines.
And for me, as somebody who always says, look, I don't care if you do this for a living. I do laugh when I'm but could you just not be a teacher and do it? Is that, I don't think that's an unreasonable position to take, but a lot of people.
Or could you not be a cop?
A lot of the people in the there were legitimately people in the comments who were I don't see the problem with this. And I'm shouldn't be teaching your kids.
If you don't see a problem with it, you're just divorced from reality, or you just don't understand the perspective of the parents.
Yep.
The parents should have the ultimate control over who their children are exposed to at a school. And that's how this original story happened, is the other parents were making complaints. The kids that are getting picked up from school shouldn't have to look at the link to your porn site. Obviously.
Do you think that the boys who end up in these relationships with teachers turn out differently than the girls who end up in these relationships with teachers?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, I guess every personality would process something like that differently, but on the whole, if we're looking at like average,
do you think it's less traumatizing for the boys or more traumatizing?
It's impossible to say. I just think that the way that is processed would be expressed differently in the future. I think that a lot of them would become hypersexual.
Yeah. And they wouldn't, because society would tell them to process it a certain way, they might not even actually understand how it changed them.
Maybe. Yeah. And maybe having people tell you that it wasn't a big deal might be better off for you in the long run. But who am I to say?
Yep. All of these things are becoming far more common.
But this is just, it's downright perverted and pedophilic. Yep. Not just what those teachers do, but this mom specifically advertising her OnlyFans at school.
Yeah, that is creepy.
That is predatory.
The idea that you wouldn't take it down. Like, okay, first of all, let me address two things. The kid, the 18-year-old kid or the 18-year-old who's filming his mom for 10%. First of all, the therapy bills are going to cost more than whatever that 10% is, most likely. But for the mom, look, taking it down, like, are you really gaining that much more business by advertising this at your kid's school that you can't take it down for the sake of your kid's education?
Or for the sake of your kid not being humiliated in front of their peers.
That's crazy.
Or at least, like, not when you're picking them up from school.
Yes. Like, I don't care if you drive around.
Because then you're just advertising the kids.
Yeah.
Yes, just drive around with it every other hour of the day if you have to, but just don't do it around your kid's school. I don't think the school was asking that much.
According to their local news, a letter addressed to Michelle Klein, the school said the OnlyFans model obtained an even larger vinyl lettering scheme that covered the entire back of her vehicle's tailgate.
This is again, no shame at all.
In response to them asking her to take it down, she got a bigger advertisement.
Double down.
She's going to start buying billboards next to the school. She's going to take it as far as she can go. And weirdly, there are a lot of Florida moms doing this. Yeah. I was looking through examples, compiling my list, and it was like Florida after Florida after Florida. It's like Florida man, but Florida woman. Yep. And they all have OnlyFans.
Like, she doesn't see anything wrong with... Like, what is her logic? I'm not advertising it to the kids at the school. I'm advertising it to the dads who are picking up their kids at the school. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
That means you're trying to also break up marriages, which also hurts children. But she will never be able to admit fault.
No, well, obviously. I'm saying, like, again, when she pictures herself doing this, she is the hero in the story. She thinks of herself as the hero, and there's a large swelling score as she gives a impassioned speech about how it's okay to sell your whore pictures to children. That's what she's saying.
Also, just to name some other examples of stalking. One OnlyFans model had a stalker hide in her attic for 2 days, taking pictures of her in her home. Okay.
Sleep well with that one tonight, ladies.
Another one that was anonymous, we can't verify whether it was real, said that her OnlyFans subscriber was outside of her house watching her sleep and broke into her car to try to get her camera to get footage of her. And then another one said that she was stalked even on an overseas trip. This guy was following her across the globe. I mean...
Well, if you've got the money to pay for a woman to not talk to you, then I guess you can also afford to follow her wherever she goes.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep. And it's like, I funded this trip. I'm coming on.
Every time the refrain is like, what I'm doing doesn't affect anyone but me. And that is just peak narcissism and just denying reality. Like, it obviously affects everyone around you in society.
It also gets worse for the mom, like with the kid who's filming her. It says, if it wasn't strange enough, it should be a reminder that in this big world, it can always get weirder. Arthur said that alongside technical productions, he offers coaching advice to his mother, including positions to try and scenes to shoot.
He's an intimacy coordinator for his own mother.
His mom's intimacy coordinator.
How old is this kid again?
18. Sure, there will be no long-term damage.
I hate it. I hate everything about it.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.